Republicans or whomever. But Sunday, here's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in Landover. I'll be at First Baptist. So why don't we have some health education going on at the church? We see a lot of that going on. So that's huge. You talked about the barbershop too. There's a very interesting relationship in the barbershop in the communities that you talked about, isn't there?
Oh yeah, barbershop's a special place. You saw, what is it, Barbershop 1, Barbershop 2, the movies?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's real. That's how barbershops are. Barbershops, hair salons, all of that.
And
You
people
know,
trust they
that's right.
trust.
That's right.
So why not?
Barbers are counselors in some cases.
Yeah, yeah. And
I don't know
there's
if
a
I
huge,
take my counseling from the barber, but you know what I
yeah,
mean?
right. Depends on what type of counseling, right? But
Exactly.
it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have a conversation with your barber, and he shares with you the effects of high blood pressure, and your family history is full of high blood pressure. And by the way, right around the other side of the wall, we can take your blood pressure if you'd like. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? And so a lot of that work is going on. The University of Maryland is doing some work around educating barbers and actually training them to become what they call community health workers, where they can actually
Okay.
provide advice. So I've seen a lot of that lately. But it goes back to your trust issue: is where do we want to give out this advice? And a lot of things in the healthcare space it's preventative.
Yeah.
So rather than wait for you to go into a diabetic coma, God forbid, why not be preemptive, right? And have your A1C checked and do all that. So it takes some work on the front end, and that's the advice I think that folks didn't take over the years, right? Is to make an appointment with your PCP, and it's hard. It's really hard.
I think you're relating the crossovers, right, from small businesses going to an accountant to make sure that their financials are right so they can go get bonding. But if they don't, then the likelihood of them getting bonding is probably not going to happen, right? So I think industries and the things that people can do and that they're advised to do, one of the things we do is try to advise them to, this is the way to do this, and then provide them with resources that actually understand that can help them. And we bridge the gap, but I earned that through the course of a year of a mentor protege program where these small businesses are with me every month for 1 or 2 meetings. And so trust is earned over time, and I think that's one of the pieces that we keep coming back to, which is, who's your advocate and do you trust your advocate? And truth be told, if I have 10 businesses in a cohort and they're with me for a year, most often than not, 50% of them get it for real and they grow and do the things they're supposed to do, and the other 50% don't.
Talk to me about the other 50%. What's the difference? How do you put them in plus or negative? I mean, what's the difference? And
I don't,
you don't
I don't
change.
really know. I don't know how to categorize them. They find other reasons they find their own reasons for it not being right for them. Or a lot of times they don't really believe it, even though the people right next to them, the small businesses in the same cohort, are actually experiencing wins, are actually increasing the bonding, or they'll come back to a meeting and say, hey, I got a loan the other day. My line of credit was increased. Those other firms still don't trust it. Or there's something they just haven't overcome as a hurdle in their business or in their life where they're ready to deal with it. So they just kind of trickle off. And 3 years later, I see those small businesses and they're pretty much the same. They're doing the same things they were doing. They have the same complaints. They have the same challenges because they've not taken action.